Today we're going to be talking about our Hebrews under foreign rule, particularly the Greeks and the Romans. Now we're going to do a little setup prior to actually talking about our Greek rule, but that's okay. So in our next unit we're going to discuss someone named Alexander the Great. You may have heard of him. And he created a vast Hellenistic empire from Greece to Egypt to the Indus River Valley and everything in between, meaning Persia, Mesopotamia, and also historical Israel and Judah. Now, when I say Hellenistic, I'm saying Greek cultured, essentially. Now, he's going to create this humongous empire and die not long after founding it in the city of Babylon. His empire is going to be fought over by his generals, with four empires coming out of this and three that are going to really stand the test of time. We're going to get into those later, but we are going to be referring to one of them, the Seleucids, coming up. Now, because of the Babylonian exile we talked about earlier this week, we have the Jewish diaspora starting. And we have Jews not only living in Israel and Judah, but we have them also living throughout Mesopotamia. Jews are going to be spread around, and this is going to cause the spread of Jewish ideas through the Mediterranean. In fact, it's also going to wind up going and having eventually the spread of the seeds of Christianity, with things like the Septuagint being made, that is going to go and have the Hebrew Bible in the hands of so many more people because it will be in Greek. One of the things we're going to find out, not only in Macedonia and Greece will they speak Greek, but they'll speak Greek in Asia Minor, they'll speak Greek in parts of Egypt, Mesopotamia, Persia, and even in parts of India. Now, like I said, Alexander's empire is going to be divided up amongst his generals. And the Seleucid Empire is where we're going to be focusing today. They, at times, are going to be ruling the territories of Israel and Judah. And Antiochus IV is going to wind up becoming a despot of a ruler to the Jews. We talked about things like the Ten Commandments, where they're instructed to worship no other gods but God. We know that Judaism is a monotheistic faith, but yet Antiochus IV, sometimes pronounced Antiochus, it depends on your background, trying to have the Hebrews worship the Greek goddesses and goddesses, idols in the eyes of the Hebrews, false gods. He wound up trying to go and make the Temple of Solomon be a temple to Zeus. And he tried to have the Hebrews break kosher by eating pork. This is going to result in a rebellion that you're going to be reading about in a comic, The Festival of Lights. And this is called the Maccabean Revolt, and it will be a 27-long-year war, against the Greeks. Now, miraculously, however, the Greeks will win this war against the Seleucid Empire and wind up going and being free. So in 164, the Jews are victorious. They find the temple is in shambles, and this is where we get the miracle of the oil, where they light the candles of the menorah, and it winds up, only being enough for one day, but it lasts a series of 8, and now we have our celebration of Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, still to this day. Alright, so now let's move on to the Roman rule. So for 88 years, we have our Hebrews being independent from the Greeks, from anyone. But then the Roman Empire is going to come in, and they will conquer them in 63 BCE. Now the Romans are going to install a puppet king, Herod the Great, to be king of Judea. Now this is a little bit confusing because there are going to be several Herods in this story. But Herod the Great is considered great because he goes and has the second temple of Solomon being constructed in 22 BCE, something that got started way back with Cyrus the Great, finally coming to completion then. Now, we're going to have different groups responding to the Roman rule and also questioning how to go and follow Judaism. So we have one group, the Pharisees, and they are going to say that you have the written law and the oral law. So we have the laws, the Ten Commandments, the laws in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, and in order to follow those better, you need to go have additional laws created. And that's how to make sure you definitely cannot go and break the law if you have extra rules to follow the rules. And they did not like the Romans ruling in Israel. They were firmly against it. Now, we have another group, the Sadducees, and they believed that the written law was most important. They didn't believe in the additional laws created throughout time to go and follow the laws better. And they actually supported cooperation with the Romans. They didn't love the Romans, but they thought their best chance of success was going along with the Romans. You know, they were very powerful. If we don't go with them, they could destroy us. Now, we're going to have yet another group, the Essenes. And when the Romans come, the Essenes say, we are getting out of here. We do not want anything to do with the Romans. And they flee Jerusalem. And they too were like the Sadducees, believing that only the written law was important. Now the Essenes are going to be incredibly important for us because they took their documents. And then, because they were worried the Romans were going to eradicate Judaism, they hid them in the caves above the Dead Sea. Now the Dead Sea, the air is very dry because of all of the salt. And it preserved these scrolls. So, a little boy going and playing along the coast, he finds one of these cliffs, finds a cave in the cliff, finds these jars, and finds copies from way long ago of the Torah, which is amazing and really cool because there were some scholars who wondered about the dates and the veracity of the versions of the Torah that were there, and then we saw that it is very old and that it does jive. It stayed the same throughout time, which is pretty wild. Our final group were the Zealots, and they were not so concerned about the law, but they were concerned about Rome, and they actively fought against the Romans. They staged a rebellion against Rome, and this rebellion is going to go and last for 4 years. And for 4 years, they're able to keep the Romans out of Jerusalem. But this is partially because Rome's attention was elsewhere. After those 4 years, the full military might of Rome is put upon them, and 60,000 Roman soldiers attack Jerusalem, and once again, the temple is destroyed. Only the western wall, called the Wailing Wall, remains. And still to this day, many Jewish people, they go to the Wailing Wall. They go write prayers and stick it in the cracks. They go pray and have sadness over the destruction of their temple. And the picture depicts that right there. And this winds up being a horrible moment for the Jews of Jerusalem. Jews were forbidden to enter the city, and they were scattered throughout the empire. So originally we had the diaspora where Jews were taken out of Israel, out of Judah, and taken to Mesopotamia. And now Jewish people were taken throughout the entire Mediterranean world, through Rome, through Greece, through Asia Minor, through Egypt, all over. So this is going to be a spreading of the Jewish people. And with this, though, this is going to spread Jewish thought, which is going to be one of the reasons why Christianity is actually going to be able to spread so easily to so many Jews in so many different regions. The idea of monotheism is going to wind up spreading. That's our notes for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.